All right, so let's dive into the Santa Clarita real estate market. Imagine you're ready to buy or sell your home in 2025. What do you need to know?
Well, first, you got to get a feel for the market, right? Is it hot or cold or somewhere in between?
Exactly. And to help us figure that out, we've got Connor with Honor. He's the first responder realtor at SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com.
Perfect. Someone who knows Santa Clarita real estate. What's the big picture? What are we seeing across the whole valley?
Okay, get this. There are only 435 active listings right now in all of Santa Clarita. That's wild.
Wow, that is low. Limited inventory usually makes things tough for buyers, right?
It definitely makes it more competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of those listings, 305 are single-family homes, 95 are condos, and 35 are townhomes.
Interesting. So it seems like single-family homes are in high demand. It might sound obvious, but it's worth mentioning. Don't just focus on the list price. You need to look at the price per square foot,
Right.
especially when you're comparing similar properties.
Right. That's easy to forget. Why is
Yeah.
that so important?
Well, imagine you're looking at two houses right next to each other. Same builder, practically identical. One is listed at $900,000 and the other is $950,000. Is that extra $50,000 worth it?
Okay, I see what you mean. Price per square foot helps you figure out if those upgrades are really adding value.
Exactly. Maybe that more expensive home has a fancy kitchen, a finished basement, or just a bigger lot.
So that extra $50,000 might make sense. But if it's just cosmetic stuff, you might be better off negotiating or looking somewhere else.
Absolutely. It's all about getting the most for your money.
Okay, so we've got this competitive market in Santa Clarita. But what about people who want more space? Let's talk about Acton and Agua Dulce.
Yeah. Wide open spaces, bigger lots. It's
Yeah.
a different lifestyle for sure.
But those areas have their own unique markets, right?
Definitely. One thing that stands out is the average days on market, 71 days in Acton and 82 in Agua Dulce. That's a lot longer than in Santa Clarita.
Why is that? Are those areas not as popular?
Not at all. It's just a different pace. Longer commutes, further from jobs, and maybe not as many people looking for that kind of lifestyle.
Correct. So it's more about finding the right buyer, someone who really wants that peace and quiet, maybe wants horses or other animals.
Exactly. But here's a key thing for those dreaming of Acton or Agua Dulce zoning. It can be a deal breaker.
What do you mean?
Well, some properties have restrictions on how many animals you can have, what you can build, or even what businesses you can run from your home.
So you might find the perfect place, but then you can't build that workshop you wanted or have chickens.
Right. Zoning affects everything from your property taxes to your future plans. You have to check those rules.
All right, so we've got a sense of the market. Now the big question, what's coming in 2025?
Let's see what Connor says.
He thinks mortgage rates will stay pretty steady, around 6–7%.
That's good for both buyers and sellers. It makes planning easier.
But he also thinks home prices will go up, maybe 5–8%, especially early in the year. He says millennials are a big reason why.
That makes sense. More millennials are ready to buy homes now, and that means more demand.
And this is funny. Connor says millennials aren't relying on real estate agents as much. They're doing a lot of research online.
It's a new generation, for sure. Technology gives buyers a lot of information. But a good agent is still super valuable, especially in a competitive market.
So you need to do your research, but also have an expert on your side.
Exactly. Someone who can help you make the best decisions. And millennials, Connor said they're looking for more than just a house.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, it seems they want things like walkability and a sense of community. They like neighborhoods with parks and trails and those mixed-use places where you can live and work and hang out.
That makes sense. It fits their lifestyle. Are there specific areas in Santa Clarita that are popular with millennials?
For sure. Think about places like Valencia Town Center, New Hall, and even parts of Canyon Country. They're being redeveloped and they have that mix of convenience and things to do.
So if you're selling in those areas, you should focus on millennial buyers.
Exactly. Highlight those walkable features and the local businesses and events. Those are important to them.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit and talk about cash buyers. Connor says they're a big deal in Acton and Agua Dulce, especially for expensive properties.
It's interesting. Cash offers can be appealing to sellers. They make closing faster and easier.
It's like skipping all the hassle, right?
Yeah.
No loans or appraisals.
Exactly. But there's a catch. Cash buyers often have high expectations. They might want to close quickly and with fewer conditions, and they might negotiate hard.
So sellers in Acton and Agua Dulce need to be ready for that.
Absolutely. Have your paperwork organized, be ready to move fast, and know your bottom line.
It's like a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
As we're talking about all this, I'm realizing something. Buying or selling a home is a big financial decision. but it's also emotional.
You're right. It's not just about numbers. It's about memories and dreams.
Exactly. And in a hot market like Santa Clarita, those emotions can be intense.
Mm.
Buyers might feel rushed to make a decision and maybe even overpay.
And sellers might feel overwhelmed with offers or sad to leave their home.
There's a whole other side to real estate that we don't always talk about.
And it's important to remember that buying or selling a home is a big life event.
So besides all the practical advice, maybe the best tip is to take a breath, listen to your gut, and make the decision that feels right for you.
I agree. Sometimes the best thing to do is slow down and figure out what you really want.
Okay, well, let's get back to the details. We talked about low inventory, but what about specific price ranges? What's happening there?
That's a good question. Connor says the most competitive range in Santa Clarita is between $700,000 and $900,000, especially for homes that are ready to move into.
So buyers in that range need to be prepared to compete. What about people looking for something cheaper? Maybe in the $500,000 to $700,000 range?
Well, there are fewer homes for sale, but you can still find something,
Yeah.
especially if you're willing to do some work on a fixer-upper.
So you might have to get your hands dirty, but you can find some good deals.
Right. It's all about balancing what you want location, size, condition, and being honest about what you can afford.
Now, what about luxury buyers? Those looking for homes over $1 million.
It's a slower market,
Yeah.
but there are buyers out there. We're seeing some amazing homes for sale.
So sellers in that market need to be patient.
Absolutely. Make sure your price is right, highlight the unique things about your home, and work with an agent who knows the luxury market.
Connor also talked about townhomes and condos. What's going on with those?
Well, they're usually cheaper than single-family homes. So they're good for first-time buyers or people downsizing. There are lots of new townhome developments, especially in those walkable areas we talked about.
So it's competitive there too.
Definitely. Those low-maintenance places are really popular, especially with busy people and young families.
It seems like every part of the Santa Clarita market is unique.
It is. And understanding those differences is important for buyers and sellers.
Okay, we've covered a lot, but there's one more thing we need to talk about: negotiations.
The art of the deal.
In a competitive market like Santa Clarita, what are some strategies buyers and sellers should use?
Yeah, it feels like negotiations are tough, especially in a market like this.
They are. And the strategies you use depend on whether you're buying or selling. For buyers, you might need to move fast.
So no lowball offers then. Probably not a good idea. Have your pre-approval ready, be flexible with closing dates, and maybe even write a letter to the seller to make a personal connection.
So you're trying to appeal to their emotions.
Exactly. And for sellers, it's easy to just focus on getting the highest price.
But that's not always the smartest move.
Right. You also need to think about the buyer's finances, their conditions, and their timeline. A lower offer from a good buyer who can close quickly might be better than a higher offer that could fall through.
So you have to look at the whole picture.
Yes. And a good agent can help you with that. They can handle offer spot problems and negotiate the best terms for you.
Speaking of agents, we've talked a lot about the market and strategies, but real estate is really about people, isn't it?
Absolutely. Building relationships, understanding your clients, and being there for them is so important.
And Connor really gets that.
Yeah.
He's not just about the numbers. He's connecting with people, supporting first responders, and building trust.
He's a great example of how an agent can be more than just a salesperson.
Well, I think we've covered everything you need to know about the Santa Clarita real estate market in 2025.
We've looked at the trends, the data, and the things that really matter.
Thanks to Connor with honor for sharing his insights. If you need help, you can find him at SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com. He's the first responder realtor.
And to everyone listening, stay informed and keep learning about the world.
We'll see you next time.